Good evening, everyone, in India and across the world. Anxiety is a very important element in part of our everyday life, be it our personal life or our commercial and work life. Someday or the other, we do get confronted with anxiety, or it can be an everyday affair. I want to share one or two important tips how to handle anxiety in India, particularly based on my observation, because it's very easy to observe the country in which you reside. In urban India, anxiety is certainly a very big issue. The mental health is a very is on a crisis level in our country. There is no I'm not ashamed in admitting it. It is certainly a very big problem in our country, and might also be there in your own country in different in a different manner. Now, the two solution which I want to share with you is, see, on a daily basis, a human being, you know a, an average human being who is working, or staying at home, and still they are doing some sort of work. They see, they hear, and they read hundreds and thousands of data. They might be watching a lot of videos, say on social media, on TV channels, and through other audiovisual mediums. They will also be reading a humongous amount of data every day, and it can be data related to your work, to your studies, to your job, or in general. And then you have data which is coming through the mechanism of thought process. The way you think, the way every human think every day. They do think, analyze something or the other. It can be it can be vague thinking, and it can be scattered thinking, or it can be very focused thinking pertaining to the particular job or particular work assignment. The part is that amidst all these responsibilities, anxiety emerges when you fall asleep, or when you sleep during the night, and you talk to yourself, or if you don't talk to yourself, that okay, in today's particular day, I've watched so much amount of data, I've read so much, I've done so much amount of thinking on various subjects and issues, and I'm going to sleep now. And all the irrelevant data which has been there in my mind, or is currently there in my mind, I want to erase it. Technically, there is not a delete or a purge button which you can just press and you can erase it. What I'm trying to convey is, when you're going to go to sleep, dedicate 60 seconds, talk to yourself, and say, murmur these words, that whichever all the amount of irrelevant data which is there, which is actually of not my use in my work, in my house, pertaining to my family, my children, my social, whatever is happening in my country, in my city and state, the data apart from this, that's the irrelevant data. For example, he or she can have read hundreds of and watched hundreds of videos on crimes, burglary, robbery, rape cases, dacoity, murder, bank frauds, financial frauds, economic offenses, and endless and numbers of negative stories which get published and broadcasted every day. So I'm requesting you all, say to yourself that I'm going to delete and purge all this particular data which is irrelevant to me, because I'm not a law enforcement agency professional. I'm not some person working in the intelligence department or in the armed forces, on the police forces. I'm not I'm not a doctor that I'm going to solve all the medical health problems, all the in my country, in my city. So what I'm supposed to do? Okay, I've gone through the data, I've watched it, I've seen it, and now I'm telling to myself that I want to purge it, I want to permanently delete it. Which means I'm not going to think over and over and over again on those irrelevant subjects which I've watched and read today. And when I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, I'll wake up with a fresh mind, and I will tell to myself that whatever I had, done yesterday, the day bygone, I'm not going to carry it forward unless and until it's part of my duty, or is part of my social or my family or my work responsibility. If it falls under that category, fine, I will remember those, I will recall and recapitulate that particular data. But if not, I'm going to make all the efforts to permanently, avoid it, avoid remembering it. And I will just focus on the other day, the next day, and the future to come. It has been, analyzed through by, reading huge amount of, educational content and scientific content, that a human being has around 50 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Okay, and these can be random thoughts, and these can be very logical thoughts. The danger part is with the random thoughts. You just go, you see something, and you start overthinking. You're driving, you saw something, and your brain started thinking. That's the random thinking. So include even, this particular second element which I'm specifying, that talk to yourself and tell, I don't want to think over these random thoughts. At the time of sleep, tell to yourself, I want to forget these random thoughts, because you're not contributing in any manner. You're not handling these situations. So you're not supposed to even overthink. If you're a policymaker, then you can think on how to, reduce the crime rates in the country. If not, you cannot do much. You can just vote. Or you can do some social, responsibility part of campaigns and all. But every day you cannot contribute. You're not a law enforcement officer. So talk to yourself, and then you get up in the morning. You tell to yourself that apart from the irrelevant data which I said, I specified earlier, then even the random thoughts which I had yesterday, some hundreds of thousands of them, I will ensure that those thoughts are not coming into my mind again, and I'm now fresh. I've deleted it. And if required, only then I will recall them, else not. With this practice, if you're going to do daily night, every day in the night and in the morning, you're going to see a phenomenal amount of, change in your behavior and your actions. The anxiety levels will come down. Seriously, work it out. I'll end this video with giving one last example, why, how anxiety actually, functions. And then you can understand the purpose behind this entire video. For example, see, for 1 month, you read crime stories every day. For example, you read rape stories, rape, you can say crimes happening in your city, in your country. Watch news and read news pertaining to rape. Now, it's a very heinous crime. Now, you're reading it every day and night, and your mind start thinking, go deeper into it, that why these rapes are happening, why there are people so violent, why they have been such, they are absolutely, pathetic, disgusting behavior they have, these criminals who commit these sort of offenses. Now, you do it for 30 days, and you will see that your mind and your body will start either two things will happen. It will make you too negative. You'll get more disturbed. You won't be able to focus on your work. You get distracted quite easily. You'll become very highly irritant, or you will start becoming sort of an activist, who wants to solve rape problems, and you want to start some sort of agitation, and you want to revolt, and you want to complain to the government that why rape crimes are happening and increasing. Out of these two situations, The second situation which I elaborated on, specified on it, that's a logical one. If you are trying to solve the problem, then it's fine. You can read and you can watch rape stories every day, because that's a part of your work now. If you're going to agitate, you're going to become an activist, or you're going to hard press for inaction of laws and execution of laws in your the region where you're staying, so that the rape cases get reduced. So that's a logical step. You won't have anxiety. That's not called anxiety. But if you're not becoming an activist, you're not doing anything to contribute to solve the rape problems in your country, and you're just reading and watching news stories every day, and not just 30 days, for 365 days you're reading and watching, that's going to increase your cortisol levels, is going to increase your hypertension, anxiety, blood pressure, and it is definitely going to make you sick, diseased. You will get ill. Your mental health will negatively get impacted, and you'll become a sad person. So that's the reason. The solution which I provided in the video before, you can go through it. You can work on it, do it for some days. Talk to yourself in the night, talk to yourself in the morning when you get up, and say those things to your mind, to your heart, that I will not recall what has actually gone unless and until it's part of my life. And I'm going to focus on the next day future, on the present day, and I will only read and watch those particular details which are relevant to me. Things which are irrelevant to me, I'll just take a snapshot overview and move ahead. Tell this thing to yourself, and you will see your anxiety levels are going to come down, drastically coming down. Your medicines will come down. Your visits to your psychiatrist or psychologist or any mental health expert will drastically come down. So I hope this helps you out. I will try to again come back again with some sort of different examples. So wish you good health. Bye bye.